to you the conscience of the United States of America, John Lewis. Maria, I guess you're going to come up to confer.
By the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Goodwin College, I hereby confer upon you, Congressman John Lewis, the honorary degree Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa, with all rights and privileges thereunto pertaining.
Good morning. Oh, good morning. It's a beautiful morning. It's a happy morning. It's a happy day. You look good. You look beautiful. You look handsome. You look colorful. Mr. President, Madam Chair, my friend, my brother, Congressman John Lawson, Coach Calhoun, I'm honored to be honored with you. Thank you for being you. I'm so pleased and delighted, really, to be here at Goodwin College. I must tell you that if someone had told me just a few short years ago that I would be standing here on this stage, here on this campus receiving an honorary degree, I would say, you're crazy, you're out of your mind, you don't know what you're talking about. So I feel more than lucky, I feel very blessed. I'm going to be very brief. I have a long prepared speech, but I'm not going to give it. This is your day. This is your day. Take a deep breath and enjoy it. To your parents, your friends, to your teachers, to the staff, to all of the people who made it possible for you to be here, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for finding a way to get in the way. I want to tell you that I didn't grow up in a big city like Hartford or East Hartford. I didn't grow up in a big city like New Haven or Buffalo or New York City or Atlanta or Chicago. I grew up on a farm in rural Alabama, about 50 miles from Montgomery. My father was a sharecropper, a tenant farmer. But back in 1944, when I was only 4 years old, and I do remember when I was 4. How many of you graduates remember when you were 4? Now, what happened to the rest of us? In 1944, when I was only 4 years old, my father had saved $300. And with the $300, he bought 110 acres of land. My family still owns this land today. On this farm, we raise a lot of cotton and coins, a lot of peanuts, a lot of hogs, cows, and chickens. John Lawson, my colleague, my friend, and you're more than lucky but very blessed to have him as your congressperson. But he would tell you that if you come to Washington and visit my congressional office, I happen to be in downtown Atlanta the moment you walk through the door, the first thing the staff will offer you will be some peanuts. Because we raise a lot of peanuts in Georgia also. Now, I don't eat too many of those peanuts. I ate so many peanuts when I was growing up in rural Alabama, I just don't want to see no more peanuts. You heard me say on this farm, we raised a lot of chickens. And it was my responsibility to take care for the chickens. I know here, as graduates, as smart and gifted students, you don't know anything about raising chickens. Maybe some of you can raise a little fuss. Maybe you can bring about a little drama, but you don't know anything about raising chickens. You may know something about Popeye, or Kentucky Fried, Church's, Bojinga, but you don't know anything about raising chickens. On this farm, it was my responsibility to care for the chickens, to raise the chickens. And I became very good as a little boy, about 8 or 9 years old, raising chickens. What I had to do when the setting here was set, take the fresh eggs, mark them with a pencil, place them under the setting hen, and wait for 3 long weeks for the little chicks to hatch. Some of you may be saying, now John Lewis, why do you mark those fresh eggs with a pencil before you place them under the setting hen? Well, from time to time, another hen would get on that same nest, and there would be some more eggs. You had to be able to tell the fresh eggs from the eggs that were already under the setting hen. Do you follow me? You don't follow me, it's okay. It's all right. When these little chicks were hatched, I would fool these setting hens. I would cheat on these setting hens. I would take these little chicks and put them in a box with a lantern, raise them on their own. I'd just give them to another hen, get some more fresh eggs, mark them with a pencil, place them under the setting hen, encourage the setting hen to stay on the nest for another 3 weeks. And when I look back on it, it was not the right thing to do. It was not the moral thing to do. It was not the most loving thing to do. It was not the most nonviolent thing to do. It was not the most democratic thing to do. But I was never quite able to save $18.98 to order the most inexpensive incubator or hatcher from the Silver Buck store, so I kept on cheating on the setting hen. But as a little boy, about 9 years old, yes, I wanted to be a minister. I wanted to preach the gospel. So from time to time, with the help of my brothers and sisters and my cousins, we would gather all of our chickens together in the chicken yard. They together here under this magnificent tent. And my brothers and sisters and cousins would line the outside, but around the chicken yard. But along with the chickens, they would help make up the audience, the congregation. And I would start speaking or preaching. And when I look back on it, some of these chickens would bow their heads. Some of these chickens would shake their heads. They never quite said amen. But I'm convinced that the great majority of those chickens that I preached to in the 40s and the 50s tended to listen to me much better than many of my colleagues listen to me today in the Congress. And the great majority of those chickens were a little more productive. At least they produce eggs. Well, John, that's enough of that story. When we would visit the little town of Troy, visit Montgomery, visit Tuskegee, visit Birmingham, I saw those signs that said white men, colored men, white women, colored women, white waiting, colored waiting. I would come home and ask my mother, my father, my grandparents, my great-grandparents, why? And they would say, that's the way it is. Don't get in the way. Don't get in trouble. But one day in 1955, 15 years old in the 10th grade, I heard about Rosa Parks. I heard the words of Martin Luther King Jr. on the old radio. The action of Rosa Parks and the words and leadership of Dr. King inspired me to find a way to get in the way. I got in trouble. Good trouble. Necessary trouble. I said to you as you leave here, leave Goodwin College, you must go out and help remake our society and leave our society, leave our country, and leave our world a better place. find a way to get in good trouble, necessary trouble. I met Rosa Parks when I was 17. The next year, at the age of 18, I met Martin Luther King Jr. And I haven't turned back since. I got arrested a few times during the 60s, 40 times. We studied the way of peace. We studied the way of love. We studied the way of nonviolence. I want you to understand, young graduate, just a few short years ago, in our country, 50 years ago, June 21st, 1964, 50 years ago, 3 young men that I knew, Andy Goodwin, Mickey Schreiner from New York, white James Trainey from Mississippi, went out to investigate the burning of a black church. The church was used for voter registration workshops. They were stopped by the sheriff. They were driving in a car, taken to jail, later taken from jail. They were beaten, shot, and killed. These 3 young men didn't die in Vietnam. They didn't die in the Middle East. They didn't die in Africa, or Eastern Europe, or Central or South America. They died right here in our own country. And I said to each and one of you, some of us gave a little blood for the right to participate in the democratic process. Some of us almost died. I almost died on that bridge in Selma, Alabama. So I said to you, I know this year's an election year. I'm not going to say anything about how to vote, but you got to participate. The vote controls everything that we do. The vote is precious. It's almost sacred. So go out during this election year and vote like you never voted before. You must do it. It is the right thing to do. I want to close by saying, be bold. Be courageous. Speak up. Speak out. Never hate. Be hopeful. Be optimistic. Be happy. The way of love, the way of peace is a better way. During the civil rights movement, yes, I was left bloody and unconscious. And one of the guys that beat me came more than 50 years later and said, Congressman Lewis, I'm one of the people that beat you. Will you forgive me? I want to apologize. Came with his son. The son started crying. He started crying. I started crying. They hugged me. I hugged them back. They called me brother, and I called them brother. We all must learn to live together, as Dr. King said, as brothers and sisters, or we will perish as fools. Gandhi put it another way. It is non-violence or non-existence. So it doesn't matter whether we are black or white, Latino, Asian American, or Native American. It doesn't matter whether we are straight or gay. We are one people, we are one family, we are one house. We all live in the same house, the American house, the world house. So keep the faith with faith, hope, and one love. Thank you very much.